This is Sunset Vibes TV. Raw.
Lively up yourself now? I'm sure you've heard that phrase because Jamaicans love to use it. And we want everyone to push through sadness. Keep going because, you need to be strong. But what happens when you can't? What happens when the laughter dries up, or even when you can't take yourself out of bed and no one can motivate you because your smile is going to tremble? Who livens up the one who can't lively up themselves? And, I've always asked myself that question. And I found myself asking that question even more severely and succinctly back in 2022 because I was standing in front of a hauntingly beautiful and disturbing art exhibition in Hudson Yards in New York. And it was about Pippin's Dilemma in Color. And what it was is more than 50 life-size caricatures with poems that went along with them. And it was bold, it was funny, but deeply unsettling. And I went around, looking at everything, and each image kind of had this mad dialectic. And let me break that down. It was kind of modern life exposing the isolation of human beings and this real ache for connection in a society that had become so disconnected. The artist was deeply humorous. I mean, some of the poems were really funny, but they were hard truths about loneliness, about pain, about how society was disregarding each other, how we were treating each other. And the artist committed suicide when he was 24. And I thought to myself, here was somebody so full of life. When I looked at the color and looked at the talent and looked at how multidimensional the work was, I got a view into his mind. And then I asked myself, how is it that somebody who was so full of life and could bring this to life commit suicide? And the story struck me because every time I see and learn about young people who feel that they're not wanted in the world or who are trapped inside that kind of questioning, it reminds me of what was happening right here in Jamaica. Because if you remember back in 2022, the news and the headlines were haunting with teenagers. I remember a 14-year-old girl commit suicide or attempt suicide because she was touched by a cousin. 13-year-old found hanging, suicide suspected. 15-year-old boy in St. Andrew takes his life. And the headlines, those things haunt me because they're human lives, especially of young people. And what most people don't realize, when I started writing articles about mental illness and personality disorder, etc., I was learning about the rates of suicide in the world because globally someone dies by suicide every 40 seconds. 40 seconds. And it's now one of the leading causes of death among young people age 15 to 24. Right now, it's the third leading cause of death among 15 to 29-year-olds globally. In the United States, the data tells another story, for people between the ages of 10 to 34. And right here in Jamaica, suicide rates have climbed to their highest in 25 years. Last year, 67 deaths. 61 of them men. And behind each number is a name, a promise, a family that, is left searching for answers that never come because sometimes they don't see the signs. And if there was a young soldier, he was 26, I'll never forget. And I will never forget it because his brothers spoke of him. He was from Somerset, St. James, and he had taken his life in November of 2022. And his brother said he was depressed because both his parents died. And when both his parents died, he carried that depression. But in our culture, we don't like to talk about depression. It's barely a whisper. And I think of Tara Spalding last month, the young promising 26-year-old. And we in Jamaica like to say things like, no man, it soon pass. If you see somebody that's continuously looking like they're going through something, or we say to them, pray about it, or man up, or guess what? God doesn't give you more than you can bear, It will pass. But depression isn't a lack of faith. Sometimes it's a really serious illness and a mood disorder that distorts people's hope. It dulls their joy and it convinces people internally and mentally that they don't matter, that the world is better off without them. And if you look at even our health and lifestyle survey, here in Jamaica, depression touches 14% of Jamaicans. That's nearly 1 in 7. And women are twice as likely to experience it as men, yet men are more likely to die from it. So you would know, and that I've spoken about this, 800,000 of our population are children. That's people below the age of 18, and roughly 160,000 of them live with a mental disorder. About 40,000 face severe conditions. Yet we only have about 3 child psychiatrists and only about 20 child guidance clinics, reaching barely 7% of our need. And that means that there are 110,000 children that are suffering, maybe unseen, unheard, untreated, because maybe nobody's having the global conversations and national conversations about what it looks like, but we can't keep quiet. Mental illnesses doesn't make you weak. It's just ignoring it that does. And there's so much treatment now that's there. But we need to normalize the conversation in our homes, especially, and our workplaces and our schools. And we need trained counselors, more of them in every parish, because they're seeing it. And we need access to therapy and national campaigns that, listen, if you feel in some kind of way, you're not going to be stigmatized. Because it's the silence that's killing us. And in our culture, if that doesn't evolve, it's going to become our deepest weapon. So the next time somebody says, yo, lively up yourself, no man, ask them, who's liveling up you? And I want to say to the young person listening right now, guess what? You're not alone. You're not a burden. You're not invisible. And you're not better off. We are not better off. And the world is not better off if you're not in it. We want you here. And so if your life feels heavy, reach out to a friend, a hotline, a pastor. Reach out in these comments. I will see it. Someone will see it. You will find help. And to everyone else out there, your task is to listen without judgment and to show up without delay, because resilience isn't pretending you're fine. It's daring to ask for help. And so guess what? If you're in New York this week, if you are in Manhattan, the Pippins are on display today until the 17th at the Art Students League, and please go and see it. There's even a panel discussion today on how art can be used as a bridge between mental illness and how creativity is more than just expression. It's not just expression. It can be powerful intervention and it can be healing. So check my stories for more.